Hello and welcome everyone to Biology 111 for the spring semester of 2022. I'd like to begin by introducing myself. My name is Dr. Stephen Gorsuch. You can call me Dr. Gorsuch, or if you feel comfortable, feel free to call me Steve. Below are some of my contact information. You'll see my email address here. That is probably the best way to get a hold of me. Next is my office. I'm in Biosciences 2100G. That's the main biology office on the second floor. You'll also see my office number. Feel free to send me a text or call me on my mobile number if you need anything. If you send me a text, I'll always make sure you include your name and the course you're referring to so I know who I'm talking with. All right, next I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about the biology major, the courses found in our foundations, the different majors we have, and some of the opportunities found within those different concentrations. As you can see on this slide, biology majors take these 5 courses. They include the course you're in now, Biology 111, Evolution and Diversity. And then the next course you take would be Biology 112, Foundations of Cell Biology. And then the third course is Foundations of Genetics. That's Biology 211. And then the next 2 courses you can take, then the next course you take is Biology 212, which is the Foundations of Form and Function. And then finally, the last course, Biology 213, is the Foundations of Ecology. After you take these 5 courses, then you will begin to specialize into the specific concentrations that you're interested in. The idea is that after you've taken this series of foundational courses, you'll have a very good understanding of all the different areas of biology, and you'll be able to make a really informed decision about which concentration to follow. So there are 3 different concentrations. The first one I'm going to talk to you about is the concentration we call biomedical cell and molecular biology. Now, if you're interested in becoming a medical doctor, a physician, a dentist, a veterinarian, an optometrist, a pharmacist, a PA, biomedical researcher, a neurobiologist, a geneticist, then this is the major for you. As you can see in this slide are some opportunities in the biology department to actually get real hands-on experiences outside of coursework. These individuals are working with faculty members in the Department of Biology, working on independent research projects. So these are really great opportunities for you as students to get involved in research. And we'll talk more about that as the semester goes on. Now, our second concentration is called Ecology, Evolution, and Conservation Biology. Now, if you're interested in a career in ecology, plant and animal biology, fisheries, wildlife biology, animal behavior, limnology, that is the study of lakes, conservation biology, Great Lakes biology, systematics, and climate change biology, then this is the concentration for you. Again, like we saw in the last slide, you can see several examples of students working in the field with faculty members in biology, getting that real hands-on experience so that when they graduate, they have those experiences necessary to get jobs or to go to graduate programs. Our third and last concentration is microscopy. If you're interested in a career in microscopy, biotechnology, or work in a hospital or research laboratory, or perhaps a forensics lab, a government lab, or with a pharmaceutical company, then this is the major for you. In this major, you will learn how to use various high-tech equipment, including a confocal microscope, scanning electron microscopes, transmission electron microscopes, and other kinds of microscopes. You'll also have opportunities to expand in areas of biotechnology. Again, like you saw in the previous 2 slides, here are some examples of students in the program working with these microscopes and working with faculty so that they can get this real hands-on experience to be successful. So all 3 concentrations will provide you with those opportunities to get hands-on experience so that you're competitive as you move on from CMU. Now I want to spend a little bit more time talking about the biology major, and I want to highlight a few different things. Now, the way we've set up our curriculum and the training of our students is so that students not only learn the content necessary to be a biologist, but also what's often referred to as soft skills. That is, skills that make you desirable for future employers or admissions committees. You're going to learn skills in teamwork, leadership, in inquiry and analysis. You're going to develop oral and written communication skills. You're going to learn a lot about problem solving. Critical and creative thinking will be a large part of many of the courses you take, as well as qualitative and information literacy. As I mentioned in the previous slide, there's lots of different opportunities in the biology department. You have the opportunity to work with faculty on independent research projects. When you're working in someone's lab, you'll have an opportunity to present at local, regional, national, or international venues. You'll have an opportunity to network with experts in industry, government, and various agencies. In addition to the courses that you take and what you're learning in the courses and working in people's labs, we also have several registered student organizations specifically in biology. Tri Beta National Honor Society is one of those. Wildlife Society, Pre-Medicine and Osteopathic Society, Pre-Dental Society, Pre-Optometry Club, the Pre-Physician Assistant Club, and the Pre-Veterinary Club. If you have questions about these different clubs, let me know and I can help steer you in the right direction. Now, I often tell people this is the most important time and the best time to be a biologist. And we see great examples of that from the places we go, the things we see on TV when we have conversations with people in the community or with our friends and family. Now, clearly, what's been on our mind over the past couple years is COVID-19 and all the variants that we're seeing. And being a biologist, you will understand why COVID-19 has spread in the way it has and how these variants have formed and how the different tools we're using to combat COVID-19 can be quite effective. But in addition to COVID-19, we know that over the course of your lifetime, there will be other pandemics. Maybe not quite, well, hopefully not quite as severe as COVID-19, but certainly other pandemics will happen. Now, these next three across the top here provide good examples as to why being a biologist now is really important. We as humans are responsible for this earth, so understanding conservation biology and studying conservation biology helps us understand and prevent these endangered species that are on the rise in our world. In addition, understanding global climate change is also important so that we can preserve this earth for the next generations. Now, the next three deal more with the medical side of biology. So genomes and personalized medicine. This is a huge area right now in biology and in medicine. Understanding diseases of the nervous system, understanding diseases in general is going to be really important. Infectious diseases and understanding microbiomes. We'll touch on this a little bit this semester, and throughout your time here at CMU, you'll come back to this. And again, this is highlighted by what we see with COVID-19 in our communities. Agriculture and security and understanding and treating genetic diseases are also two really huge areas in biology today. Maybe one of the most important things that you'll learn as a biologist is how important it is to live in the world of science, but also understand that we have to interact with society and make sure that society understands some of these very important questions. So this interface between science and society is really important so that really good policies can be made that work well with us and also protect animals and our planet. All right, now I'd like to focus in on the course itself that you're taking, Biology 111. Now, this course will focus on the basic principles of evolution and how to apply these principles to the history and diversity of life. We will certainly focus on some issues linked to our planet Earth and some of the problems we face when we think about endangered species, when we think about climate change, and when we think about how we are charged with protecting this Earth. We will also bring in some examples linked to human health, human disease, and issues involving our current COVID-19 pandemic crisis. Here's just a brief list of some very general concepts we'll cover. They include the concepts related to evolution and diversity of life. That's not shocking since that's the name of the course. We also want to spend a little bit of time talking about how biology interacts with society. And I'm going to have at least 3 days, maybe 4 days, where we focus specifically on this interface between biology and society. You're also going to learn how to think like a biologist. We'll do this in lecture and in lab. And also we'll learn how to analyze and interpret data. This will mainly be in lab, but not only in lab. This being your first course in biology, this is also a good opportunity to learn how to be a successful student. All right, so what are you going to need for this class? This was part of that long email I sent earlier, but let me go over this again real quick. The first thing you need is the textbook. Biological Sciences. You're going to use this book in Biology 111, Biology 112, as well as Biology 212. I recommend that you take advantage of the inclusive access. This gives you the electronic version of the textbook. The next book is this Writing Papers in the Biological Sciences. This is a book you're going to use in all of your foundational courses, so it will become quite handy as you move through the biology curriculum. You'll also need to pick up a copy of the laboratory manual. This is found in the bookstore. You may have gotten a message early on about buying an iClicker code. Don't buy an iClicker code. We're not going to use iClicker. We're going to use something else called Feedback Fruits. This is a tool that's in Blackboard, so it'll be easy to access for you, and you'll always have it available. It seems like a really cool system. I'm starting to learn a little bit more about it, and I think it'll be really, really useful as we move through the semester. I also recommend that you get a small whiteboard. This is useful when you're taking our online exams so that you can show me in the camera that you have a clean whiteboard, and then at the end of the exam, you'll show me also that the whiteboard is erased. The reason this is useful is because sometimes when you're taking an exam, you just like to be able to draw out some options, think about the problem, and sometimes the best way to do that is to actively write things out. I can't let you use paper because paper is something that could be passed from one person to the other, so it only can be a whiteboard. So please get a small whiteboard. You'll also need a computer, internet service, a webcam, and a microphone. In class, you'll need either a laptop or a smartphone so that we can access the feedback fruits in class. I think a laptop or even a tablet would work best. It'll give you a better opportunity to type things out. But if all you have is a smartphone, it will work as well. When you take our exams, those are going to be online. So you'll need either a desktop or a laptop computer that has a webcam or a microphone. If by chance you don't have one of these, the library will have them, and you can take your exams in the library. I want to talk to you a little bit about the format of Biology 111. The lecture, we will meet in person, face-to-face, 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 12 to 12:50. This class, as I just said, is taught face-to-face. So there's not an option to stay home and watch it online. You must come to class. It'll be in Dow 135. Now, I think it's also important to address the fact that even though this class meets face-to-face, we do live in a time of uncertainty because of COVID. So if the president of the university, the governor, asks us to go online for all of our learning, then that's what we'll do. And we have a plan in place for that. So not to worry. We will continue, and you won't lose class time. Now, if you have a positive test for COVID or you're a contact and you have to quarantine, you will report this through the university and they will contact me, and I will make sure you don't lose points in those situations. You won't be able to interact in class, but I'll make sure you have the activities you need so that you can be prepared for the exams. Labs meet once a week. They are also face-to-face, and they meet in Brooks 169. So a different classroom. It's in a different building. So Brooks 169. These are not taught by me, but they're taught by one of 2 different graduate students. Both have taught these labs before, so you will be in really good hands. Again, remember that these are 2 different parts of the class. You must attend both of them, and you must pass both. If you were here last semester or previous semester, you already know that every class has a Blackboard show. If you're new to CMU this semester, you should know that every class has its own individual Blackboard show where all the course material is located. For Biology 111, you're going to have 2 different shows, one for lecture and one for lab. You will need to interact with both of those Blackboard shows frequently so that you're prepared for lecture and lab. I'm going to spend a little bit of time now going into the Blackboard show and showing you how our Blackboard show is set up for this class. All right, let's go ahead and spend a little bit of time talking about Blackboard. If you were here last semester, you will notice that Blackboard looks a little different. They made some changes to it. I think it overall is an improvement, but it'll take a little while to get used to some of the changes. In general, you're still going to click on the same things that you used to click on. It just kind of looks a little different. If you click on courses, as I've done here, you'll see all the courses that you're registered for. You'll see Biology 111 and with the M4113070. That's the course that you are in. You will also see one of the lab sections that you are enrolled in. You won't have all of them because you're only enrolled in one of them. But whichever one you're enrolled in, you will also want to make sure you visit that Blackboard show frequently. And your TA will be in touch with you shortly. So I'm not going to talk about the lab Blackboard shows, but I do want to spend some time with the lecture Blackboard show. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Biology 111 Spring 2022 Merged. All right, your Blackboard show should look something like this, where we have our announcements shown here, and there's only one announcement. It's the one I've already sent. I also have here some resources for COVID, tips for students, food services available to you on campus and the community, and some tips for managing anxiety related to COVID-19. And there's a lot of other resources and services I can provide for you as well. If you run into any problems during the pandemic and you need extra help, please make sure you reach out. There are many people on campus wanting to help you succeed. Next tab here is the syllabus. So let's go ahead and click on that. I'm going to go ahead and open the syllabus. And make sure you read over the syllabus. It has all the information that you will need to know. Let's go ahead and talk about a few things here. On the first page, you'll see my name, office hours, all the contact information I talked to you about before. my office hours, and I'll show you on Blackboard how you schedule a meeting with me. And let's go and look at some other things here. It has our required material that we've already talked about. In this section here, I talk a little bit about team-based learning, and I'm going to spend some more time on that in just a moment once we leave the Blackboard shell. But for now, you should know that team-based learning is the format that you will learn the material in Biology 111. See some grading policies here. An important thing I want to point out to you is that there is a 72-hour window. So if you realize there's something misgraded or you want to question something, please make sure you contact me within 72 hours. Here's our grade distributions down here. One important thing to remember when you're looking at your grades in Blackboard as the semester goes, don't just take the total number of points you have and divide it by the total points possible, because not everything is equal. So you're going to have potentially lots of different points in daily work, but it only counts for 10% of your grade. I shouldn't say only, because 10% is a whole letter grade, so it's really important that you do well on it. But if you just go by points, it could be very misleading. And I can talk with you later about the best way to calculate your grade as you're moving through the semester. I have some tips here about how to succeed in Biology 111. Make sure you take a peek at those. Here are some course policies and some course tools that are available for you as we're taking the class. Make sure you look over those. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this page here, page 5. Make sure you look it all over, but I want to point out this policy on academic integrity. Please review this policy, because I don't want to see a situation where you get dinged with plagiarizing and then you get a 0 on an assignment and we have to report you to the university. We don't want that. One big thing that we sometimes run into is students going to these third-party websites like Course Hero. That's just bad news. Don't do it. It never ends well. Never ends well. Don't do that. If you upload something to Course Hero, or if you take something from Course Hero or one of those sites, you will get a 0. So don't do that. Putting your material there is just as bad as taking material from there. Several students last semester discovered this the hard way, so please don't let that happen to you. Stay away from all those sites. They're not going to do you any good, I promise you. So click on these links and learn a little bit more about the policies that we have in place. Here's some contact information for student success. If you need help with math or the Writing Center, definitely take advantage of these resources. They're available to you. The Presentation Skills Center, Academic Advising, make sure you reach out to them. Get a tutor early, either if you need one for this class or another class. Don't wait until you're halfway through or 3/4 of the way through the semester. If you think there's a course that you're going to struggle in, get a tutor from the very beginning. Other sources here for student support that you can read on your own. All right, so here's the last page of the syllabus. This is a good page to keep an eye on so that you can see when things are coming, when things are due, and all that fun stuff. All right, let's go back to Blackboard. Daily course material. This is the tab that you'll probably go to the most. You'll see as the semester goes through here, we'll have a Unit 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right now, I only have Unit 1 available, and for Unit 1, I only have Day 3 available for you to look at. So let's go ahead and look at Day 3. You'll see several things here for Day 3. You'll see a study guide. You'll see a video podcast. You'll see IRAT and TRATs, and I'll talk about those in just a moment, and an application question. We'll come back to the study guide in a moment, but for now, I am going to download it, and so we can come back to that later. Every day, so what you'll need to do every day before class is to watch the video that is linked to that day. So let's go ahead and click on this video. It's going to direct you to this third-party website called Feedback Fruits. And this is where much of our learning material will be located. I'd recommend doing this the day before. You'll watch this video. And you'll see there are 3 questions inside of this video. So go ahead and hit Open Video. Every day has one of these videos. Most of them involve a whiteboard with me writing on it. And then what I recommend, strongly encourage, based upon what students have done in the past, is to write everything I'm writing and draw everything I'm drawing. Also, write down the different things that I say, even though I don't write them. Make sure you have a good set of thorough notes by watching these videos. Students in the past who have done well in this class, this is what they've done. They've gone through these videos and they write everything down. Now, as you're going through these videos, you're going to come across a series of questions. Remember, this video has 3 questions. I'm going to speed up to this one here. Okay, as you can see, as you get to this question, it stops. And you have to answer this question in order to proceed through the rest of the video. Now, if you answered and you miss it, you're not going to lose any points. This is just to see how well you're understanding the material as we're going through. I will be able to see every student who watches the video, and I'll be able to see how you do on these, but you're not going to lose points if you miss a question here. And so let's answer this question. Since you're watching this video, I'll give you the correct answer for this one. If an atom had a mass of 12 and an atomic number of 6, then how many neutrons are present? Well, the correct answer is 6. We'll submit that. And it tells me I got it right. Good news. So there will be 2 other questions in this one. Every video has anywhere from like 2 to maybe 5 questions in them. But don't lose sleep over them. Try to get them right because it'll tell you if you're understanding material well. But now we can hit continue and it will move on with the rest of the video until it gets to the next question. We're going to stop here. I should also say that every class has 1 video. Some classes may have 2 videos, but in general, they will be anywhere from 20 minutes for a very short video, and then some classes, the videos could be as long as 45 or 50 minutes, but usually they're in that 20 to 35 minute range. Now the IRAT and the TRAT and the application questions, these you will go to in class when we're going over the material. So I won't open those yet, but these will be questions that you answer in class, and I'll explain that in a moment when we move back to the PowerPoint I was going over. Now I did want to come back to this study guide here and talk about the best way to use that. All right, so here's the study guide for day 3. Each study guide has a series of objectives. This one has 4 objectives. Under each of these objectives, I highlight some key concepts: atom, mass and atomic number, abundancy of elements, covalent bonds, and all that good stuff here. What I'd recommend you do after you watch the video is to come to the study guide and see if you can answer these questions. For instance, after watching day 3's video podcast and you look at macromolecules, do you know what the 4 macromolecules are? And then what I would do is just write them in right here. So you would type in proteins, carbohydrates, nucleic acids, and lipids. And as you're going through these, any ones that you can't answer by remembering from the video podcast or by referring to your notes from it, make a note of it over here where it says your question. So for instance, let's say as you're going through this, you don't remember hearing anything about dehydration. So you're going to say, what is dehydration? And then you'll know to go back to the textbook, maybe talk with some other people in the class or ask me, because that's something that is on the note-taking guide here, the study guide, that is still unclear to you. But you should be able to answer all of these questions. Then this, with the notes you took from the video podcast, provide a nice set of material for you as you're studying for the quiz and for the exam. Now, I'll come back to this later when we start talking about exam 1 in a couple weeks, but as you're studying for exams, you will want to look at these study guides and you will want to look at your notes from the video podcast, but you'll also want to pay attention to what we do in class because that's a big part of the exam as well. All right, let's go back to the Blackboard show. Okay, we're done with the daily material here. And again, remember, every day is going to look very similar to what you see here for day 3. And by the time you're watching this video, I'll at least have day 1 up and maybe day 2 as well. But I'll have these days populated in advance so that you can prepare for each class. Okay, the next link I want to go to is the ebook. And when you come to the ebook, what you're going to do is you're going to click on this. And I'm going to click on it to show you what you'll see now, but I've been told that by tomorrow morning, that is Friday morning, you should be able to see the textbook. But when I click on it now, as I just did, it's going to tell me there are no books there. They're in the process of loading them, and it takes an overnight reset of the system in order for them to get in there. So by Friday morning, you should be able to see this, and you may be watching this video after they're available. So hopefully when you click on this link, you'll see the ebook. Now let's look at exams. There are no exams in here yet because I haven't assigned any exams yet, but I think it's a good idea to look at the instructions I have for each exam. We'll go over these some in class as well when we get closer to exam 1. And then here's some instructions on how to download the Lockdown browser. You probably already have it downloaded if you took classes at CMU last semester, but if you haven't downloaded it yet, here are some instructions to download it. Weekly homework, let's click on that. Each week I have a homework assignment. It will open on Monday and it will be due the following Sunday. So you don't see anything yet, but on Monday, the first day of the semester, when you click on this, you will see your homework assignment. Like I said, each week we have a homework assignment. Some weeks I combine them and maybe you won't have a homework assignment due that week. It'll be a double homework assignment due the following week, but I'll tell you when that happens. Semester groups, again, I'm showing you a lot of empty windows. I don't have your groups made yet, but when I have your groups made and know who's going to be in every group, I'll post that here in this window. I'm waiting to get all the surveys back so I can make some nice groups for everyone here. Now, schedule a meeting with me. If you click on this button here, and then click on this one that says link to schedule office hours, it'll take you to this link here where you can schedule office hours. And you can see my office hours are Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And all you do is click one of these here. You put your name and your email. Tell me what we're meeting about, if it's about class, if it's about advising, if it's about something else, just say what it's about. And then we can either meet in Teams, in which case I'll send you a link and we can meet over the internet, or we can meet in person. Either's fine with me. It's totally up to you. All right, now one more link I want to show you is the library link. I'm going to just click on that. And this is a link that takes you straight to the different resources that you may need while working in this class or throughout your time at the university. Okay, so that is pretty much all I want to show you on the Blackboard page. So let's go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint slide. All right, we are almost done with what I want to tell you about. There are a few other things I want to approach here. The first is this concept of team-based learning. This is the format I use in teaching my classes. It's the format of Biology 111. If you think about any class you take, there is a portion of that class where you acquire some of these core concepts. And then there is another portion of that class where you have to apply those concepts. Now, in a traditional lecture experience, like you see in this picture on the right, most of that lecture time is spent giving students information that they need to know. This is an opportunity for the student to acquire information and course concepts. That leaves very little time in class to apply that knowledge. And we know that when students, but not just students, anybody, when you take core concepts and you start to apply them to real-world situations, that's when you really learn the material. And it's also more fun, right? The last thing you want to do is listen to me stand on a stage telling you all the different things you need to know. You'd rather spend that time in class applying those core concepts. And so that's what team-based learning is about. Team-based learning is when we flip some of this around. And you still acquire a lot of that core information, but most of that is going to happen before class. You're going to read some of the concepts that you need to know. You're not going to become an expert on it, but you're going to have a good foundation of what you need to know by taking advantage of either readings that I give you or videos I give you or a combination of those. Then in class, right here, we'll take two quizzes. We'll take an individual quiz and then a team quiz. And that'll let us know how well everyone came to class prepared. And you'll see how this works. It works amazingly well. You'll see that the averages on these are usually quite high, as long as you've done the stuff before class. This gives us a lot of class time to spend working on these application exercises, the fun stuff, the stuff where we're actually learning why we needed to know some of these concepts. It's much more valuable for us to spend your valuable class time working on these real life experiences as opposed to listening to me drone on and on about concepts, right? You can do that on your own. You're all very, very bright people. And so some of that you'll do on your own, and then we can spend our class time doing some of the fun stuff. You'll see how this works over the first week, and you'll pick it up real quick. Okay, so now, in general, I want to kind of go over the process. I sort of already did, but I want to kind of go over it again real quick here. So before class, right, you're going to read and watch videos and complete the study guides. Watching the videos is going to turn out to be one of the most useful things that you do, as long as when you're watching them, you're taking notes from them and you're actively engaged in the material. In class, like I said, we're going to take an individual quiz and a team quiz, and you're going to discover that these two quizzes are identical. Just one you take on your own and one you take with your team. And then we'll spend most of the class time working on these application-based questions. And we'll use that Feedback Fruits tool in order to take these quizzes and work on the application questions. Then after class, you'll review what you learned, you'll complete the weekly homework, and then you'll prepare for the next class by reading and watching videos for the next day. As you move through the semester, you'll pick it up pretty quick. I'm confident in that. But of course, always reach out to me if you're struggling with any of this. And the last thing I'm going to tell you is that our contingency plan, if we have to move online because COVID numbers get too high and it becomes safer to move online, then that's what we'll do. And we'll use Microsoft Teams to do so. I'll go ahead over the next week or so creating teams within Microsoft Teams And so you'll probably get an email saying that you're in a team, but don't worry too much about it. We're only going to use that if we have to transition to an online format because we're directed to by either the university's president or the governor. Okay, that's all I have. And so I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you throughout the semester. Let me know if you have any questions, but in the meantime, get ready for Monday and I will see you then. Have a nice weekend. Bye.